So I really didn't expect Black Ops 7 to impress me. My expectations were not high at all. And somehow, it still found a way to disappoint me. I've played bad Call of Duty games before, but this is the first one that feels like watching something good die in real time. So Black Ops 7 just became the worst rated Call of Duty game in franchise history. 1.7 out of 10 on Metacritic. Not 5 out of 10, not even 3 out of 10. No, a 1.7. I've seen mobile games with better scores. I've seen asset flips on Steam with better scores. And somehow this $70 AAA game from one of the biggest franchises in gaming is sitting there with a 1.7 looking like it belongs in a bargain bin at a gas station. And here's the part that actually hurts. I can't even really defend it. Because while I do think that the game is review bombed to hell, and while I think angry fans and trolling Battlefield players are piling on slightly unfairly, there is some truth buried in all that rage. Black Ops 7 is failing hard, and watching it happen in real time is genuinely painful. Because this game had things going for it. Better features than Black Ops 6, looser matchmaking, supposedly, persistent lobbies, a proper camo grind, and it's still collapsing. Physical sales are down 61% from last year. Steam player counts dropped from 300,000 to 80,000. And Activision, who usually can't shut up about breaking records, put out the most pathetic corporate tweet I've ever seen. We have seen a great response to the quality and depth of gameplay. That's it. No numbers, no biggest launch ever, no records broken, just damage control that's disguised as celebration. And when a company goes from screaming about being number one to whispering about great response, they're in trouble. So let's talk about that 1.7 score for a second, because it's genuinely fascinating in the worst way. So you've got user reviews with just the word garbage repeated like 10 times. You've got people rating it 0 and writing dog poo, dog poo, dog poo as their entire review. Real insightful stuff. Personally, I don't think any functional game deserves straight zeros unless it literally just doesn't boot up. But then you read past the trolls and the rage, and you find legitimate frustration. People feel burned by back-to-back Black Ops releases. They're tired of packet burst ruining matches. They're furious about the campaign, which is so bad it apparently might be competing for worst in series history, and they're skeptical about every promise Activision makes because they've been lied to for 6 years straight. The campaign. So let's dive into this disaster because it deserves its own section in this autopsy. They hyped this thing up for months, okay? 4-player co-op, revolutionary storytelling, an endgame mode that's basically an extraction shooter. So it was supposed to be the main selling point, the thing that justified releasing 2 Black Ops games back to back. Instead, we got a co-op campaign that's not fun to play cooperatively. Think about that sentence for a second. A 4-player co-op mode that's worse with friends than playing solo. What? How do you even accomplish that? Half the cutscenes are unskippable, so you and your buddies get to sit there in silence, watching dialogue that sounds like it was written by someone who's never had a human conversation before. There are puzzle sections where one player participates, while the other 3 stand around like NPCs. The story is a nostalgia-bait retread of Black Ops 2 that immediately reveals the returning villain is a deepfake. In 2025, when deepfakes have been a verified threat for over a decade, and apparently nobody in this universe thought to check. The writing is so lazy that it's insulting. The enemy AI is brain dead. You can quite literally run past most encounters because enemies just stand there unless they are specifically scripted to move. Boss fights are bullet sponge marathons where you're watching health bars float above heads instead of engaging with actual combat. And the final mission, reportedly the worst finale in Call of Duty history, is just endless waves of tanky enemies in cramped corridors. No creativity, no spectacle, just a war of attrition that punishes you for sticking around. So 5 hours to unlock the endgame mode, which everyone agrees is actually pretty good. They took the best feature and locked it behind their worst one. What is like that's not game design, that's hostage taking. And here's where it gets extra painful. The multiplayer is good. Non-ironically, it's genuinely good. When packet burst is not destroying your experience, when the servers cooperate, when you're not getting kicked for idle timeout in a solo session, it's actually pretty fun. The maps are back to classic 3-lane triarch design. Movement speed feels right, not too frantic like Black Ops 6, and not too slow like Modern Warfare. The camo grind is satisfying again. The combat record actually works. Persistent lobbies are back, at least in theory, and the matchmaking does feel different. My first 2 days were brutal. Every lobby felt like a tournament finals, getting absolutely destroyed, questioning if I had just aged out of competitive gaming. But then something shifted. The last few days have been better. I'm getting high kill games again, feeling like I can compete. Is that looser matchmaking or just me adapting? I genuinely can't tell. And that uncertainty is maddening. Treyarch made changes. They listened to feedback. They supposedly opened up matchmaking, reduced the strictness, brought back features that people have been begging for. And it's just not working commercially at all. Physical sales down 61%. Steam players down 73%. Metacritic score in the toilet. Activision in full damage control mode. This is Modern Warfare 3 all over again. A game that's actually better than its predecessor, getting destroyed by bad timing and perception. Modern Warfare 3 was better than Modern Warfare 2 in almost every way, but it was labeled a $70 DLC and sales dropped almost 40%. Same thing happening here, but worse. 2 Black Ops games in 2 years breaks the 3-studio rotation that Activision has been using since 2013. People see it as an unnecessary cash grab, and that perception is killing it regardless of actual quality. The Steam numbers are particularly damning. Black Ops 6 peaked at over 300,000 players at launch on Steam. Black Ops 7 is barely scraping 80,000. That's a collapse. And before anyone says Steam doesn't matter, well, it mattered last year. Same platform, same Game Pass integration, same audience. So where did the 220,000 players go? They didn't all suddenly abandon Steam. They just didn't buy this game. Activision's Twitter tells the same story. Let me read you their progression of launch announcements. Modern Warfare 2 in 2022. Thank you, Call of Duty community. You've made Modern Warfare 2 the #1 Call of Duty launch of all time. Next, Modern Warfare 3 in 2023. Thank you for a historic launch, highest engagement in the Modern Warfare trilogy. Black Ops 6 in 2024. #1 Call of Duty game of all time in terms of total players, hours played, and matches played. Black Ops 7 in 2025. Across opening weekend, we have seen a great response to the quality and depth of gameplay in Black Ops 7. Read that again. Great response. No numbers, no records, no superlatives, just the most generic corporate damage control statement imaginable. When you go from biggest of all time to great response, that's not celebrating. You're coping. And then there's the packet burst situation, which has been plaguing players since launch. I've had matches where I try to jump onto a ledge and the game lags me backwards into enemy fire. I've had entire sessions ruined because every 10 seconds the game stutters and I'm teleporting across the map. Dude, it's 2025. We're on current gen hardware. Call of Duty has had dedicated servers for years. How is this still happening? The technical issues wouldn't be as big of a deal if everything else was working, but it's not. When your campaign is terrible, your sales are down, your review scores are in the basement, and your multiplayer, the one thing that's actually good, is being ruined by server problems? No, that's not bad luck. That's a catastrophic launch. And here's what terrifies me the most. Activision could revert everything tomorrow. During the beta, we learned they can change matchmaking with a server-side flip. No patch, no warning, just an instant switch back to strict skill-based matchmaking. All the positive changes that Treyarch made, gone. Because this experiment clearly isn't paying off. Next year is Modern Warfare 4 from Infinity Ward. And Infinity Ward is responsible for every single thing the community hates about modern Call of Duty. Strict matchmaking, safe space map design, doors everywhere, fast time to kill, removing the minimap, getting rid of prestige mode. Infinity Ward has a very specific vision of Call of Duty, and it's the opposite of what the vocal fans want. Treyarch tried to course correct. They listened, they made changes, and it's failing. So, what's the takeaway for Activision? That listening to fans doesn't work. That taking creative risks doesn't pay off. That they should go back to the formula that pisses people off but makes consistent money. That's what scares me. That's the real tragedy here. Black Ops 7 might be the best Call of Duty we've gotten in the 6-year skill-based matchmaking era. It's better than Black Ops 6 in almost every way. It's better than Modern Warfare 2 and 3. It's better than Vanguard. The multiplayer, when it works, is genuinely fun, but none of that matters if people aren't buying it. That irony is physically painful. We finally get a Call of Duty that does things the community has been asking for. Looser matchmaking, persistent lobbies, proper progression, classic map design, and it's commercially failing. So I can already see it happening. Activision will look at the data and conclude that catering to vocal fans was a mistake. They'll go right back to strict matchmaking and safe design philosophy with Modern Warfare 4. We'll be back to square one, except now they will have data proving that listening to feedback doesn't work. Zombies is good, apparently. The new map is a return to classic round-based zombies, and people seem to like it. That's one bright spot in this mess. The endgame extraction mode is reportedly fun too, if you can stomach the terrible campaign to unlock it. But two good modes can't save a game when the campaign is historically bad, the multiplayer is plagued by technical issues, and the entire package is being rejected by the market. Look, maybe I'm being too pessimistic. Maybe sales pick up during the holidays. Maybe word of mouth turns this around. Maybe the technical issues get fixed and people give it another chance. I would like to believe that. I would. But watching this unfold in real time, seeing a game that does so many things right still collapse, it's exhausting and scary. I spent $70 on a game that's better than last year's entry and somehow feels worse because of bad timing and terrible messaging. I'm genuinely having fun when the servers cooperate, but I'm constantly worried it's temporary. That Activision will look at these numbers, panic, and revert everything. Back to strict matchmaking, back to ignoring feedback, back to the same complaints we've had for 6 years. That's what hurts more than I expected. Not that the game is bad, because it actually isn't, mostly. The problem is that the game is good in ways that don't matter commercially. And that might kill any chance of future Call of Duty games taking creative risks. So, yeah, 1.7 on Metacritic, worst rated game in franchise history, officially. What's your experience been with Black Ops 7? If you've made it this far, please consider subscribing. I'm trying to make it as a full-time YouTuber, and it matters a lot. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video and have a great day.